Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Chokeslam Wrestling Debate. I am JTH, rabid Ravens fan, who 5 minutes out of this recording just lost their playoff game, and now everyone can laugh at me. Proceed.
Ha 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 ha.
I'm even in the playoffs. I'm not going to laugh.
Of course you can laugh. That was a little bit more faint than I thought it was going to be. Well, I guess it's just because the tension is so dramatic for this match. It's a #1 contenders match to determine who is going to be playing our current Chokeslam Wrestling Debate champion, the Cosmic Night Fury, Nico Suave Regoli. It's a matchup between Ryan Payne and Sean Westerkrug, a fellow Chokeslam admin. I assure you that no rigging of this match will take place, unlike some other people out there that will remain nameless. Cheap shot. Some people got it. All right, so basically how this match is going to work, it's going to be typical traditional round, 4 main round questions. If there's a tie after the 4 traditional main round questions, we will have a speed round question to determine who will win the match. Basically, 90-second opening argument, 5-minute debate period between our 2 players once the question has been asked, and a 1-minute closing argument, unless both of our players wish to use a 1-minute extension that they have one that they can use at any time during the match. So, without further ado, are both of our players ready?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Sure. I don't know if we were doing promos or not, but all right, cool.
Oh, do you want to do promos? I can sit back and weep about my team some more.
If Ryan's good to go, I'm good to go. If he wants to cut a promo, I'll cut a promo. I can do one off the spot. It's fine either way.
Yeah.
All right. So that means I have to wait until the match is over to weep about my team. Oh, that's all well and good with me. All right. Yep. So our first question will come into the category of TNA Impact. And when it comes to TNA Impact, a lot of things that really defined what made TNA great was all the epic rivalries that took place within that organization. So we wanted to ask both of our players, what was the best rivalry in TNA Impact? I'm not entirely sure who this question was devoted to, but I'm just going to go on the fly. It goes to him. Okay, how I usually do it is the person that won the category goes first. I know that's not how other teams or how other leagues do it, but I'm going to do it that way. So, Ryan, we're going to start with you. What is your choice for the best rivalry in TNA Impact?
Okay, when it came to TNA Impact, I had to look at a rivalry that kind of showed the best of the company. What it was, not just the potential, but when you put 2 wrestlers up against each other, they were able to produce magic. Maybe not always in the ring, but also in their promos and in backstage as well. And that was the rivalry between Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. This was during the time of Impact. Early on, when Matt shows up, he's starting to revitalize himself. First, he becomes heavyweight champion, winning against EC3. Unfortunately, he had to give it up. He wins it a second time. That's when he begins his heel turn run, which leads him into a battle against Jeff Hardy. And in one of their matches, Jeff does a huge swanton off of Matt Hardy, which leaves him broken to where the following TV tapings, he kept showing up in a wheelchair, looking very disheveled. And this was the start of Broken Matt Hardy, the true renaissance of Matt Hardy in Impact Wrestling. And from there on in, the rivalry between Jeff and Matt were fantastic. I mean, the Final Deletion, Tag Team Apocalypto, I can go on further, but I'm going to stop right here. And just to say my rivalry is Matt versus Jeff. All
right. Very good choice. Let's now go to Sean. Sean, what have you selected for your best rivalry in the TNA Impact organization?
I agree with what Ryan says. In terms of picking the best rivalry for a company, it's got to be a rivalry that shows what the company is made of, that puts the company out there saying, this is our best of our best. We're giving it to you. Come watch us because this is what you're going to get. And for me, it's got to be 2 of the best wrestlers in the world that can basically put on 5-star caliber performances in every match they can, but also, like Ryan said, can put on good, intense, aggressive promos as well. And that's why I chose Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. You had Samoa Joe, who had been built up as this monster and basically almost like a Goldberg-esque type of character in TNA where he was unbeatable. No matter who they threw at him, no one could beat him. In comes one of the best wrestlers today of all time, Kurt Angle, literally comes in, stands face to face with him, and straight up headbutts him in the face, breaks his nose, thus the feud begins, and we get a year, almost a year and a half, of these stellar 5-star classics that led to TNA being on the map and actually being looked at as a potential feud for WWE. And that is why I chose Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe for best rivalry.
All right. Excellent choices by both of our players. I'm really interested to see where both of our players are going to go with this debate. So without further ado, the 5-minute debate period will begin when the first person begins speaking. Take it away.
I mean, Sean, I do give you credit for picking Samoa Joe and Angle. I mean, they were definitely one of the top. They were definitely a good top rivalry during the time of TNA. Definitely did get the attention. But when you do look at it, from what you said, Joe was built up as this big monster. And while Angle headbutting him is a good sign to show that this is a veteran, not being scared by this young lion coming up, unfortunately, when you go down into their feud, Angle had been booked to be dominant against Joe. Not completely dominant, but to win in big matches, to where Joe didn't really get the opportunity to solidify himself in the spotlight, becoming a heavyweight champion. It had to be until afterwards in their battles. But I mean, looking at both of these wrestlers, it seemed that TNA focused more on Angle than they wanted to do on Joe, which in the smart money, looking back, Joe would have been the smarter pick to choose.
And the reason why they did that was because Kurt Angle was billed as one of the best wrestlers in the world. He has a broken freaking neck, Olympic champion, multi-WWE heavyweight champion. When he came in, he was billed as top-tier talent, as a god amongst men. And Samoa Joe is this rising upcoming talent. No, he should not have been billed to beat Angle right away. He had to build and break himself down and rebuild himself back in, kind of like broken Matt Hardy. And then when it felt like Angle always had that one step on him, Joe wins the big one. And if you look at it, their records against each other were actually pretty even. Angle won most of the early stuff. Joe won most of the later stuff, because at that point, Joe had excelled and become the better wrestler than Kurt Angle. And that builds a great rivalry, is that these men were not equals and they became equals, and then they came in battle. With yours, yeah, it was a fun rivalry, but yours was on a company that was literally on its last legs. No one wanted to watch it. And it was kind of a joke. It was just one of those things like, hey, did you check out this bullshit that Matt Hardy and Jeff are shooting? It's pretty freaking ridiculous. And yeah,
I have to argue that it's that BS that you're talking about that got people's attention back on. I mean, I'll admit, when I saw this, and I was coming back and forth between Impact, but when I saw this whole thing between Matt and Jeff, I thought TNA Impact was going to shoot them down the drain, that they were just letting Matt do whatever the hell he wants because they gave up on him. But turns out it got favor amongst the audience. I mean, even the wrestlers themselves did parodies of the whole "Brother Nero, I knew you'd come." Just those crazy, stupid backstage skits that they filmed at the Hardy compound.
See, here's the problem with that, though. Yes, like I said, it's fun, but it wasn't good wrestling. You basically turned TNA into Lucha Underground, where it's like, oh, let's make a grindhouse version of feud, which, like, let's talk about Final Deletion for a second. That match is pure garbage. It's garbage. What they don't even do, it's basically all flash pops and circumstances. There's no legit wrestling going on. All the wrestling happens in the first 2 minutes, and then it's them running around shooting each other with firecrackers. It's no better than backyard wrestling, which is not pro wrestling.
Tied into their background of the Hardys being backyard wrestling.
That doesn't make it great. That doesn't make it one of the best feuds in TNA history. The best feud in TNA history is the best wrestling. If you had said AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels, we'd be like, oh, dang, I've got a real competition here. But no, you chose one that, in terms of like real grindhousey, like, hey, did you watch this thing on YouTube? Yeah, you chose a great one there. That doesn't put a staple on what makes TNA a iconic company. What made it iconic was the X Division and these two Goliaths of AJ and Samoa Joe, or Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe.
But here's the thing with Impact going on and the wrestling between Matt and Jeff. Sure, it wasn't that much involved. It was nothing but a sketch show of just nothing but fireworks, constant out of characters. But that's what wrestling, unfortunately, was becoming around that time between Matt and Jeff Impact, and even WWE main wrestling promotions. They had to create content. They had to create material in order to grab their audience's attention. Even
they saw what Underground did and said we could do that. That's
But
basically
the
what
difference
they
was that they had passion. They put their heart and souls into this. They allowed themselves to do wrestling. What makes wrestling great is characters, not just wrestling alone. You can take the best wrestler out of any company, but still he can still be a little he can still be crap on the mic. He can still be crap when it comes to who he is as a character. If you get someone as a character, it doesn't matter if they can't put on 5-star matches all the time. But the fact is, when he's paired up against someone you want to see in dream matches, you're going to get something great out of it, good or bad. And that is something I enjoyed with this match.
You just basically put yourself in the point. You just said someone who doesn't put on 5-star matches. If you don't have a wrestler who's good,
it's messing up with Joe,
it doesn't make the best rival ever.
Makes me think he chose the wrong rival.
Time.
Okay.
And there's the Ryan. Oh shit! I had more stuff I wanted to get out. There's the Ryan we all know and adore.
He gets closing. He gets a closing.
I'm trying not to get a headache here, just so I don't curse.
Yeah, I apologize. I jumped the gun there. That's gonna happen when the closing happens. So we're getting into the 60-second closing. We started with Ryan. We're gonna start with Ryan again for the closing. So Ryan, whenever you're ready, your 60-second closing will begin whenever you're ready.
Ultimately, when it comes down to a rivalry, you have to look at the people who are paired together and what they can bring out of each other, the best of themselves. Matt and Jeff Hardy not only are they're brothers, but they grew up together. And around this time in Impact, Jeff Hardy, everyone loved. They knew what he can do. Matt was always seen as, even though he's the older brother, but he's always seen as the lesser of the two of them. Jeff had the better career in WWE. Matt had a middling career. Matt coming in Impact, creating this stable, the Hardy brand, and then all of a sudden having this fight with Jeff, and then becoming broken, building himself back up again and again, getting everybody into this mad chaos, this mad Alice in Wonderland style that Matt Hardy had created, developed something that got the fans excited. This brought Impact back to attention again. This was a time Impact was trying to do everything in their power to let everyone know that they were still around. And also it showed that wrestlers can get a better second life outside of the WWE, which is why this rivalry was so important. It was crap.
There it is. There's what we all know. All right, Sean, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Bottom line is, with Matt and Jeff Hardy, yes, it got YouTube clicks, but it didn't really bring the viewer ratings back to making TNA worthwhile today. It was still a very, very generic company. People didn't come to watch their shows because of it. They just wanted to see how ridiculously stupid this thing was going to get. That doesn't make a great rivalry. A great rivalry is something with iconic matches. The first match with AJ and Samoa Joe was great. They had a phenomenal Iron Man match. Their Lockdown pay-per-view was the highest-selling TNA pay-per-view in TNA history. Why? Because they were in charge of it. Because they put on stellar matches from here to here, from here to there. They had great aggression. They had great story. A rivalry for the ages is something when you go, did you see this match from them? Yes, but did you see this match from them? No, but you should see this match from them. Not go, did you see that generic thing where they fought in Matt Hardy's house? Yeah, that was funny, but it doesn't make it iconic. That doesn't make it the best feud in TNA history. The best feud in TNA history is the best wrestlers going out there and putting on 5-star caliber performances, not some B-show horror show.
All right. Very nicely done by both of our players. I'm a little conflicted about where I'm going to go with this one, but we're going to start with our far left judge. We're going to start with Jacob. Jacob, where do you stand on this one?
All right. Well, I think this was a very good opening argument to start off this match. I'm a little partial to the Hardy Boys just because I really enjoyed them growing up. But again, going based off of the arguments, Ryan, you did shoot yourself in the foot a couple times, especially with the great rivalry. You don't have to have the 5-star matchup. Big shot in the foot right there. And Sean had a couple of really good points, especially the Matt and Jeff Hardy were really great putting on YouTube videos, but didn't make you want to actually watch the match itself. So I'm going to give my vote to Sean.
All right, let's go to our judge right next to me, Tennessee Titan fan. Go Titans. Matt, where do you stand on this?
Damn right, go Titans. They both had good arguments, but I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Sean had more bullets in his gun and took the shots at Ryan, and Ryan just couldn't really reel him back in. But like Jacob said, when he said, they did great promo work, but they didn't always have to do 5-star matches. A rivalry gets built up by the caliber of matches. So that kind of just shot him in the foot. So Sean's aim was a little bit more spot on. So Sean gets this point.
All right. So speaking of the said WWE, we're not going to go into the late 90s, which everybody seemed to love for some oddball reason. We're going to go into the era of the 2010s, which apparently no one seemed to like for some oddball reason. And I guess, well, this question might be one of the reasons why many people didn't like the 2010s. We wanted to ask both of our players, what was the worst segment on Monday Night Raw of the 2010s decade? Obviously, now that we're in 2020, we have a full 10-year span of bad quality Raw to talk about. We're going to start with Sean. Sean, what have you picked for Monday Night Raw's worst segment of the 2010s?
When it comes to the worst segments, I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, because, yeah, it's been a pretty bad 10 years for WWE in terms of segments. I mean, you got just freaking so many. But for me, mine's going to be a little bit more recent, just because we had a full week to be prepared for the garbage that we were about to see. And that was the fake Lana pregnancy angle back in December, Monday Night Raw. Basically, it was at a London show, which means they shot it basically a few days earlier because of the time zones and stuff like that. And the one thing that came out of that show wasn't the matches or anything that happened. It was, oh my God, this segment was so bad that this is easily going to be the worst segment of the year and potentially the last decade. And then you had to watch it and just watch this train wreck happen. And it's abysmal, and it further proves why Vince McMahon needs to take a step back, focus on his XFL, because this angle keeps going and it just won't die. But this right here was the point that literally caused the fans to just 100% turn on him, to the point when they did the editing of the show, they actually had to mute the crowd because at one point they literally said, "Shut the fuck up, Lana," and chanted that. And that's why it's the worst segment in 2010s.
All right, and I apologize to all the kids that were watching. We just dropped an F-bomb, but we assure you that will be the only F-bomb dropped in this to keep our PG-13 rating, or else COPA will be on our ass for sure. All right, so let's go with Ryan. Ryan, what have you chosen for Raw's worst segment of the 2010s era?
I definitely concur with Sean. There has been plenty of worst segments throughout the 2010s of Raw, so many to choose from. But I decided to choose a segment that at the time when it was happening, it was in the midst of a rivalry between two female wrestlers. One of them had just had this big WrestleMania victory. Another one was a part of a trade from SmackDown. I'm talking about the This Is Your Life segment featuring Bayley. It's mainly hosted by Alexa Bliss, and the whole thing was just meant to bash Bayley. And this was at a time where Alexa had captured, like months after Alexa had captured the Raw Women's Championship, establishing herself as the goddess in this rivalry against Bayley. No matter whatever happened, Bayley always kept losing because she didn't go over the edge. And unfortunately, this segment was happening weeks before their match at Extreme Rules. And Alexa does this terrible This Is Your Life segment trying to feature people from Bayley's life. And the whole thing was just meant to shit on crap on Bayley. And the fact was that it got so bad that when they brought out special guests, people were sounding boring. They were saying this is crap. They didn't really mute a lot, but in unedited footage, you can hear people were just dead most of the time. And the only time ever reactions came was when Bayley ever showed up. But even then, Bayley had no comeback. She just stood there, took everything, and just gave Bayley to Bayley's to the two actors, and then walked away as if nothing happened. And unfortunately, this definitely was a nail into her career until she got traded to SmackDown. Now I'm just going to stop here before time runs out.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have a choice. Your time was up. So
my screens are small, so I can't see the fingers.
I'm in a dark room because I'm hiding in shame. So there's a lot of bad stuff to talk about with Raw this decade. Mine would probably have personally been the "Hey Charlotte, say hi to Reed for me." That awful segment from a couple years ago. That was very, very bad. But That's not the one that was picked. It's between the two that were picked in this one. The 5 minutes will begin whenever the first person begins speaking.
Look, Sean, as bad as that reaction is with the whole Lana announcing pregnant thing, the problem was that everyone knew that this was going to be a crap angle going in with Lana, Rusev, and Lashley. With mine, this was clear between Alexa and Bayley that this was supposed to be about two women deciding who's top dog on Raw. The problem was that with Alexa, she was great on the mic, but with Bayley, she was given no chemistry with her. And this segment, fortunately, was just a complete downfall to where even in the Raw following that, they admitted that it was a terrible segment. I mean, with your segment, it's still ongoing, though. We have no idea. I mean, with the angle, it's still going. We don't know if it's going to end yet.
Yeah, but even with yours, it didn't end right then either. It's not like they stopped the Bayley-Alexis feud. It still kept going. I mean, they still had their feud. So even though yours is bad, it's not like it just stopped. Yours, I mean, look, they took something that is considered one of the best segments in Raw history, and they tried to do it again. And Alexa, bless her heart, she tried. She went out there. She had to deal with the what chance, which she countered very, very well. And, I mean, she was dealing with a hostile crowd in the first place, but at least then she was out there trying. I agree the people there, the actors, were not that great. But the crowd still, I mean, they never got to the levels that my crowd got to. My crowd was a bloodthirsty London crowd. And to come for WWE, who doesn't come there very often, to be fed that garbage. The fans didn't even let Lana get 2 seconds into the interview before they just were on her. She broke her Russian accent within the first 5 seconds and went right back to just talking like regular.
I mean, it was clear from the early start when Lana and Lashley hooked up that she was going back and forth on the Russian American accent, which was, I mean, to be honest, the one consistent thing she's been doing throughout the entire angle. And to see with Lana, she's actually being like a trooper here. I mean, she's using whatever she can. And sure, the people are hating on her, but guess what? I mean, in Vince's mind, if you're yelling out,
her baby was going to be in her stomach. She literally talked. Then they brought in the whole sex addict thing, which for PG era WWE is really great, by the way. But she literally talks about this mutilated monster, this Machka monster that got put inside her. They allowed that to be on TV, and then because she was just drowning out there, they go, Rusev, go out there, please. Rusev goes out there.
That it was on
Rusev couldn't save it either, so then they go, Lashley, get out there. They had to basically keep bringing people out there to try and spice this up, and it didn't work. Ultimately, it was an epic fail. Vince McMahon's getting off on this. This is why this thing's still going, because he's trying to.
Vince McMahon Vince is loving this, and yes,
Vince loved the Bayley thing too.
On her. And you talked about how Alexa is countering this crowd, and yeah, she's doing a good job. But the problem is that it's just her out there. Once she brings out actors, of course, these are actors being fed scripts as well, and they're reading off them very bland and very terribly. And yes, there is boos coming off this crowd. I swear, I saw this episode. I dozed off a couple of times where I missed the point where Bayley showed up. I had to watch on the replay that she came back. At least with the Lana angle, I was wide aware of what was happening, and nothing bored me. I was enjoying what the crowd was doing to her.
You wanted to watch the train wreck because everyone knew ahead of time before this Raw aired that this was going to happen. There was even rumors that they were considering pulling it from the episode, but Vince was like, nah, we got to keep it in. But no, they almost pulled it from because it was so bad. Yes, they almost pulled it. But with yours, yeah, they didn't send Bayley out right away. They let it out there. They let it go the whole way, which shows that they did not think it was as bad in the moment. They did not think it was that bad, which is why they let Alexa go through all 3 or 4 groups of people before Bayley came out. And even then, when Bayley came out, what happened? The crowd cheered, which meant
yes, because Bayley was. They all knew they wanted Bayley to attack Alexa. It was during this time where everyone was suffering through this blandness. The moment that Bayley came out, everyone wanted Bayley to beat the hell out of Alexa. Instead, what happens? She does this subversive thing and just stands there.
It worked then. It did exactly what they wanted. They wanted the crowd to cheer for Bayley, to be on Bayley's side. And when Bayley came out, the crowd went nuts, which meant that, yes, while it was badly performed, it got what they wanted. When Rusev came out, the crowd had literally no reaction. When Lashley came out, the crowd had no reaction. It was just shut the F up, move
Nobody
on.
wanted to be involved. Like you said, it was a train wreck. Everyone wanted to watch the train wreck. And the fact was, yeah, they
not the live version.
There is a niche audience for that. What?
He said time.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that was a good back and forth debate talking about a bunch of crap, but we've got to bring this to a close. So we started with Sean. We're going to go with Sean again. Sean, your 60 seconds will begin whenever you're ready.
Look, this is a horrible topic for both of us. Neither one of us like either one of these topics, so it's a lose-lose for both of us. So we have to waste time talking about this segment. Bottom line is, when Bayley came out in your segment, the crowd cheered, which effectively works in what they were trying to do, which was to put support towards Bayley and make Bayley a huge face going into their match against Alexa. Mine did nothing for any of the three competitors in that thing. They kept having to force everyone to go out there to try and save this drowning ship, but all it did was just add more bodies in the ring and effectively causing the crowd to completely turn. The rest of the show was never the same after that. The London crowd was vicious the rest of the way through, to the point where they considered removing the sketch completely and just doing the American version of Raw without that sketch in it. They had to completely change the audio levels of the crowd to remove the "please shut the F up, Lana," and that is why it's the worst in history. They didn't do anything to the Bayley one. They just let it go. And that's why mine is the worst one.
All right, Sean taking shots at the question writer. Hope the question writer was not listening when he heard that. Ryan, take it away whenever you're ready.
You're talking about how you're talking about how they constantly kept trying to send Lashley and Rusev out to save that ankle. Yeah, that shows Vince actually kind of cared about this whole thing. He wanted to try to maintain and appease this crowd by trying to rush this thing along. Having the Bayley "This Is Your Life" segment just lay out there and not try to speed things going along shows exactly that there was, unfortunately, nobody cared about this. It was the sink or swim situation. Instead of trying to push it forward, they laid it out dead in the water. And yes, while people did cheer for Bayley, this was at the time when it was building to Extreme Rules, to where people wanted to see a mean side of Bayley. And when she came out there, everyone thought she was going to rush down that ring, grab a canister or grab a chair, and just start tearing the whole thing apart. Instead, she just sits there with her whole Bayley nice girl attitude, to where she just lets everyone crap on her. And sure, she pulls off her finishing moves twice. The problem is that it accomplished nothing in the end. And the fact is, I admit, the next week on Raw, they admitted that it was a terrible segment. And the fact that This Is Your Life was a good segment, was just turned to trash, showed that they weren't trying to put any more passion into this whole.
All right.
Don't curse.
Good back and forth argument there. Let's go to Matt first. Matt, where do you stand on this topic?
This was a good back and forth. They each had good points on why their segments suck. And you're right, both segments really do suck looking back at them. That being said, Sean brought up a point that really hammered it home with me, that Bayley was the face. They were trying to make her the face. And Ryan kept saying, well, you know, they expected her to run down. But that segment was, like Sean said, was trying to get Bayley over as the face. And like Sean also said, that they kept trying to throw bodies into his to make it better, and it just didn't work. So with that, Sean gets the point. Yeah.
All right. I was kind of back and forth on this one myself. At the end of the day, I think I actually liked a little bit more from Ryan. Sean actually, I think, kind of helped him a little bit, talking about, you know, the endless segments that were happening with this, which I actually think kind of helped Ryan's argument, bringing up the length of the segment. When a segment is of that length, for it to be that bad is much more memorable when it comes to how awful it is. He also brought up the fact that, you know, his promo was about to be cut out, but it wasn't. And the fact that Ryan's is still in there, and it's ungodly long and very bad. And also, I don't know how they could have, you know, edited it out, since it was a live show compared to a taped London show. So I did like the fact that Ryan, you know, stud-ho, brought up a lot of great points about his argument. And I'm personally going to give the my point to Ryan, which that ties us up. It's now going to go to Jacob. Jacob, you're the deciding factor on this one. Where do you stand on it?
Man, I feel bad for the guy who has to decide who wins this one.
You can hide in shame now.
Dang it. No, this was another great back and forth. I probably would have gone with Sean's. This whole Lana Lashley Rusev crap has been crap. I'm very surprised they're still going with it. But I'm leaning more with JTH, leaning with Ryan. Again, this is very back and forth. Just a couple things that Ryan brought up. You know, the crowd was not into it. You know, he himself dozed off a couple times. When Bayley finally comes out, they all cheered because it was finally done, but it wasn't actually done. With the whole Lana crap that's been going on, you know, everyone's telling her to shut up, and it's actually brought a lot of people to cheering Rusev Day the entire time, especially at her wedding, which was hilarious. But yeah, just slightest of margins. I'm gonna have to go with Ryan also.
All right, actually a little surprised. I thought I was going to be the lone wolf on that one. Now let's go on to the next question, which is in the realm of WCW. This was a really interesting one because we really had to make both of our players dig deep into the archives of Monday Night Nitro. We wanted to ask both of our players, what was the best episode of Monday Nitro? I hope you all watched your billions and zillions of Monday night hours of Nitro. And we're going to start with the what was that?
Thank God for the WWE Network.
Yeah, unlike others that wouldn't get it, so we'd be screwed on a question like this. So we're going to start with Ryan. Ryan, what bowels of WCW archives have you pulled out the best episode of Monday Nitro history?
When it came down to best episode of Monday Nitro, I mean, you want to stay as an episode you want to rewatch over and over again. But when it came down to the best episode, it was just an episode that is just that it's become iconic because of not only from the day it aired, but the foundation it laid forward. And that is the episode of Nitro, September 16th, 1996, when Sting made that promo saying he is leaving WCW and becoming a free agent. This was at a time after this was 1996 was the time of the NWO, was the Outsiders debuted, Hogan joining them, and then after Fall Brawl, they created this. They hired this fake Sting to cause distrust amongst the locker room, to where everyone turned their back on Sting, leading up to War Games. So when Sting said, "This is not me, I'm not doing this," no one believed him until he had to show up, fight this fake Sting, and then flip everybody off who said, "Hey, that's not proof enough for you? Is that proof enough for you?" And then to come on to WCW, turn his back to the hard camp, showing exactly how disinterested and how disappointed he is in the company that he has fought for since his debut, like in the 90s. The fact that nobody trusted him because one man in face paint said that, "Oh, I'm Sting, I'm with the NWO." I'm sorry, no, but with that, Sting leaves them, and from there on in, we get the Crow Sting, the Sting that made WCW pretty much what it was. Fantastic characters. Oh, crap. Literally, like my mind, I'm trying to stretch out every bit of time. I'm like, no, don't.
Well, don't do that.
Every single time. So, Sean, what is your choice for the best episode in Monday Nitro history?
Look, for me, when the Monday Night Wars happened, I was in middle school type area age. So for me, when it comes to the best episodes, it's the episodes that when you got to school the next day, you were like, "Oh my God, did you see this? Oh my God, this happened. I can't believe this." Talk. When it comes to a episode, top to bottom, that makes you go, "Oh my God, this was the best Nitro ever," you can't look any further than July 6th, 1998. I wanted to make sure it was the right year. And that is Goldberg in the Georgia Dome beating Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It was an actual Nitro that had pay-per-view type of caliber matches. The crowd was intense the whole way through. It felt like a pay-per-view on Monday night. It was the one Nitro that literally made you go, "I need to watch this Nitro instead of Raw," because something big is going to happen, and it did happen. Throughout the whole show, they built this thing up. and we were wondering, is Hogan going to win? Is Goldberg going to finally lose? Is Goldberg going to win? And then we finally get this match, and it wasn't a blowout in the beginning. And when the crowd gets to that end, the intensity, the way this match was built, and the craziness the fans and the crowd was going to, not only were you screaming in the arena, but you were screaming at home, and that is why this one is the best Nitro of all time.
All right. It was a couple seconds short, but I'm sure he's well content with what he brought up. The 5 minutes will begin when the first person begins speaking. Good luck to you both.
Ryan, here's
what we got here is
Let me start. I let you start. Okay, here's the thing with yours. Yours was a bullet point in something that inevitably became fantastic, which was Crow Sting. Yours at that moment, yeah, it was a very confusing moment. People were just like, I'm not, even when he's doing the interview, everyone, like, you look at the faces in the crowd, they're just like, I don't really quite know what's going on right now. Is someone going to run down? What's going on? And it wasn't even the final point of the show. It just happened mid-show. Your show, the matches, outside of the opener, which was Rey Mysterio and Hoovy, who had a great match, the rest of your show is garbage. It is a horrible Monday Nitro. Mine at least has solid to decent to good matches all the way through, like a WCW pay-per-view was. Yours has a segment that literally just did not matter at that moment. It was the following weeks that we then went back to, oh no, Sting was for real. It wasn't that moment. It was later. Mine was in the moment.
I would disagree. That moment did matter because I mentioned before, this was the buildup of what happened from they did at Fall Brawl with the introduction of the fake Sting. The fact that this guy was causing this character
on that Raw. You're describing stuff that's happening before this Raw or Nitro. Sorry, before this Nitro and stuff after this Nitro. Not this Nitro. You're talking about the best Nitro.
All that stuff was a build up to that Nitro, to the character of Sting throughout
one 10-minute promo of a 3-hour show. You're talking about one promo of a 3-hour show. Tell me what else was great on that 3-hour episode of Nitro.
You did just mention the Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrero match, which was amazing. Personally, for me, I enjoyed Macho Man Savage, and this at the time was when Savage was trying to defend WCW. He wanted to fight and punch up, challenging Hogan, who, of course, when Hogan joined, it was a Hogan show. But personalities like Savage was there to fight him. Personalities like Flair, Arn Anderson were there. Flair and Arn Anderson were, even though they were the old veterans, they were also fighting the young talent like Chris Jericho, like DDP. Like, even with Lex Luger, even though not much of a wrestler himself, but the fact that he was a WCW staple, people got behind him. And the fact that he felt even more hurt, the fact that he turned his back on Sting, gave more into that promo. Because Sting, he's opening himself up. He's laying his heart out to everybody. So when he walks away, it does leave a huge blank. They could have did the whole thing where Sting comes back the next week and goes, okay, guys, I changed my mind. No. They stuck to his guns, which led to the foundation and to the legacy that is Crow Sting. With your WCW Nitro, sure, you have Goldberg and Hogan. I'm sorry, what other matches were there? Were any other titles defended other than the WCW Championship? Because I'm going to be honest, I look back at that. Yes, you see the Goldberg and Hogan match. What else?
Okay, yours only had the Cruiserweight title. So where's your argument there? Mine had Booker T versus Dean Malenko. Mine had Raven versus Kanyon in a no DQ match. Mine had Jericho versus Ultimo Dragon. Mine had Goldberg versus Scott Hall. Right? Goldberg had to defend his U.S. title earlier in that night to prove that he could fight Hogan, and he fought Scott Hall, which basically almost came off like a shoot match. Then we had Hoovy versus Psychosis, which was a great little cruiserweight match. We had DDP versus Neidhart. We had Giant versus Duggan. You had DDP versus Ice Train, Conan versus Super Callow, Scott Norton in a DQ over Randy Savage, and your main event was Luger in a handicap match against Benoit and Steve Mongo McMichael. Literally the end of your show was Luger laying down in a fetal position because he was just getting his butt kicked, and they go, well, guys, that's the end of the show. Here's hoping Luger can get out of this. Bye, guys. That's how your show ended. That's how the best Nitro ever ends. Mine ended with Goldberg raising the title.
Ended in DQs, double finishes, no count out. That fit into the structure of that show. What made it fantastic was the commentary was always selling it. And that show had a 5.0 rating compared to Monday Night Raw, who had like maybe a 4.4 rating.
you're going to talk about ratings. My rating was through the roof that night when Goldberg beat Hogan. Let's not bring ratings into this in terms of best Nitro, because we go by best ratings. Neither one of us has the best one. It goes to a tag team match between the Wolfpack and some other team. Let's not even bring ratings into this. The fact of the matter is, your Nitro, looking at that card, is no better than a Thunder or even a Saturday Night's Main Event. Yours is literally based on a 10-minute promo. That is it. Mine is a solid card throughout, with Hogan, the ultimate villain, being triumphantly taken down by Goldberg.
Time. All right. Good arguments by both players. We're going to go into the closing arguments. We're going to start with Ryan. Ryan, whenever you're ready.
Despite everything Sean has said about my matches, the people that was fought against there, I mean, sure, WCW during the 96, around the time of NWO, even further down, every match either ended like in a DQ, either a DQ, a count out, or just thrown out because of interference. That was how WCW was booked. What mattered was the people's reaction to it. When you saw like Lex Luger getting his ass beat down in a 2-on-1 handicap match because it was thrown out. Guess what? The people were reacting to it. People were throwing shit because 96, this was just about building the NWO. And guess what? Not many people were suited to fight the NWO. They tried with Luger. They tried with Savage, Arn, and Flair. That promo with Sting was important because this was WCW booking, showing that this is the man they are going to put the company's shoulders on when it came to the WCW NWO war. This is the man they were going to show that this is someone who's going to fight Hogan. And throughout the entire build with Crow Sting, we saw that despite how it ended. The anticipation with the audience kept building because of that.
Sean, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
You talk about that was building up the NWO. The NWO wasn't even the final thing of the night. It was a 4 horsemen beating up Luger. Had nothing to do with the NWO. Like I said, your match or your whole best Nitro ever, which if that's the best Nitro ever, then you really hated WCW if you think that was the best Nitro of all time, because it was a little promo that later meant huge things. But you're talking about all the greatness that led to the promo, not what the promo itself was. Mine had a solid card throughout. The crowd was red hot the whole show, building up to this main event that should have been saved for a pay-per-view. But they said, you know what? No, we're going to give it to you on Monday Nitro because we want to beat Raw. And we got Goldberg in his hometown with the whole crowd around him, taking out Hogan, taking out the immortal Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And then we had great matches throughout. It was the one Nitro that felt like a pay-per-view all the way throughout. And that is what we talked about the next day for the next week until the next episode of Nitro came around when Goldberg was still champ. And that's why it's the best.
All right. I will take it away on this question. Ryan, I think, gave his best efforts, but he kind of had the look that he had during that closing made it look like he knew he was kind of behind the 8 ball there. Sean kind of brought the big bullet point that Ryan's Nitro was kind of just based on one segment, and when Sean called him out about the other matches that were on that show, Ryan just listed wrestlers instead of naming matches. Sean had to bring up the matches himself to kind of prove that point. So I like the fact that Sean brought up his card as a whole compared to Ryan's card as a whole, and overall it just seemed like Sean had a better sense of his show's quality over Ryan. So I'm going to personally give my point to Sean on this one. Jacob, let's go to you. Do you concur?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Sean gets my vote on this one. Ryan was able to hammer in that his episode was great because of a moment, but Sean was able to tear it down with it was 10 minutes out of a 3-hour show, which Ryan really tried to dig himself out of, was able to dig himself out a little bit, but not all the way. Just wasn't able to get back from that to counter Sean enough. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Sean as well.
All right. So with that, Sean now takes a 2-1 lead. This is the final of the main round questions. If Sean is able to get the point here, he will be the victor. We now go into the realm of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kind of got a bit of a curveball here. We were going to have a different question, and then circumstances happened. We had to scrap that original question. So these players are kind of being a little bit more on the spot with this one, kind of little bit last minute of this question, but still a very good question. So going to be interested to see what they come up with here. In the realm of New Japan Pro Wrestling, we asked the question, who had the best debut in New Japan in the 2010s decade? We're sticking with that 2010s, but we talked about the crap of 2010. Let's talk about something good from this era. So Sean, I believe we're starting with you on this one. Whenever you're ready, what New Japan wrestler had the best debut in the 2010s?
To me, when it comes to a debut, it's got to be something that leaves a lasting impression. Not a promo and then no match, but an actual match that makes the world go, who is this person? I need to see this person. We need more of this. And for me, the one person in the 2010s that I felt did that is Will Ospreay. Now, with Will Ospreay, his debut was on a combo show in London. It was a Rev Pro / New Japan. It was a 2-day event. He fought on night 1, but it wasn't against anyone in New Japan. On night 2, he went one-on-one with the champ, Kushika Okada. And after that match, Okada goes, New Japan, sign this kid. We must have this kid. If we don't bring him, we're going to lose to someone else. And then in 5 months later, Will Ospreay was there. Will Ospreay debuted as Chaos, and his first actual match was in New Japan. If we want to take the Rev Pro thing out, which if that might be an argument for Ryan, then here it is. His first official match in New Japan was April 10th, 2016 against the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kushida. Your debut is against the World Heavyweight Champ, and then your second one is against the Junior Heavyweight Champ. That's how you debut.
All right. At 3 seconds to spare, again, felt like he got everything he wanted to get out there. Ryan, whenever you're ready, take it away with your selection.
I guess for me, when just like my sentiments are the same as Sean's. When it comes to debut, it has to be somebody, a wrestler, who's gonna show us what they're capable of, showing us exactly what they can do. That makes me want to say, I want to see more of this guy. I want to know what they're going to do with him moving down. And is my faith in this wrestler going to be rewarded? Now, New Japan, there's like a lot of wrestlers that shows plenty of potential, but to me, none had that better potential than Kenny Omega. He debuted in 2010 in New Japan, part of the tag team with Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lovers, which they did a lot of wrestling in DDT Pro, which I'm pretty sure might be brought up. But they came to New Japan. They debuted against the team of Guido and Yano, and then from then moving forward, they end up having incredible rivalries against Apollo 55, which was Prince Devitt and Takaguchi. I'm not going to get these names right. I might butcher them. But from there on in, they fought for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag titles to where they won them on Destruction October 2010. And because they won that match, it was named by Tokyo Sports the 2010 match of the year. They were the first junior heavyweight tag team match to ever win that nomination. And Kenny Omega from there has shown in his God damn it, I screwed up with the names.
That's all right. Happens to the best of us. All right, so this is a very important 5 minutes that is approaching. The 5 minutes will begin when the first person begins speaking.
You're talking to someone who loves Kenny Omega. He's one of my favorite wrestlers out there. And in New Japan, when he was given the chance, he was God at a point. He made the God Okada basically bleed. We're talking about greatest debut. You're talking about a year of a debut, which, yes, outside of that opening, he had a great 2010 with Ibushi. But that first initial match, it wasn't Omega that was the spotlight. It was Ibushi. Ibushi was the one that everyone was taking notice of. Omega was just kind of the partner that Ibushi was with. My guy, his first match was literally against the best wrestler in the world, Kazuchika Okada. And he, after the match, literally went to officials saying, we need him. To have the best wrestler in the world go to the officials of the company saying, I just worked this match with this kid. We need him now. And then to bring him in, that is how you debut with a company. And then even if you don't want to count that as his debut, his actual debut was against Kushida, who was the champ. So he debuted getting a title shot. Yours was just a tag team match. And even then, Omega wasn't even the best part of the match. It was a Bushi. This is coming from
as I mentioned, I want to see wrestlers who, when they debut, they show potential of greatness within them.
Which is what Ospreay did.
Yes, but with Omega, sure, he may have not been the spotlight of that, but the fact that he and Kubushi had plenty of experience with each other, they were able to complement each other in their team match. And also moving forward, he did have amazing rivalries with Devitt and with Taguchi with Apollo 55. He even had an IWGP title shot against Devitt when I watched that match. That was amazing. I loved it. I wanted to see more of it. Sure, he didn't win the match just like with Ospreay not beating Kushida. But it was just moving forward. Like I said, yes, if you want to knock me down for choosing the potential, the debut within the year, yes. Because 1 year of a wrestler, sometimes one match or 1 year, 1 week, or 1 month can determine where a wrestler's future is going to be. And Kenny within that year showed the most potential to move forward in that year. I mean, the fact that they won the tag titles, the fact that Kenny later on does the best of the Super Juniors twice. He also joins the Bullet Club. He wins so many titles in that company because within that year, he had that time to space himself out. He wasn't thrust into the spotlight like Ospreay was. Yes, it's hard to argue that when the top guy wants to sign a kid to the company, that's great. But then he's got so much pressure on his shoulders to live up to that hype.
And he did live up to it. That's the thing. He went in and he immediately was a starring attraction. He came in bullets blazing, coming in, putting on fantastic performances against Okada, against Kushida, and then he immediately went into the best of Super Juniors that you claim Omega was great in, which he was. But you're basically what you're describing with Omega, Ospreay did, but he didn't have to do it with Ibushi. He did it on his own in that first year. And you're talking about
saying that Omega didn't need.
So does Ospreay. Go ahead.
No, I mean, the way you're phrasing it is saying as if Omega with Ibushi sound like it was a disadvantage for him. To me, I think it's a positive because the fact that he has a partner with him in matches, in tag matches, we get to get just a small taste of what Kenny is capable of. So when we see him in singles matches, we get to see some of his classics like the Snapdragons, his rising knees, his V-triggers, which he doesn't do later. But it's just small moves you see him doing tag matches. So when he pulls them off in the Super Junior tournaments, you do see that this guy can be brushed to greatness. With Ospreay, yes, his best of the Super Juniors was fantastic, but his match against Ricochet, which I'm not going to decry that it's terrible. It's great.
That match is one of the best matches in New Japan.
Match, but when you look at it, there's some ones where it feels very not orchestra, but like heavily collaborated.
What you're trying to say?
What?
Choreography?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it as a negative word, but yeah, sometimes it felt very choreographic, especially when they do their backflips and then they land, they're staring at each other. It might stay a good moment in the match, but come on, I mean, it's good one time, but they pull it over and over again in New Japan whenever Ricochet and Ospreay are face to face with each other.
And Kenny Omega hits 15,000 V-triggers in one match. What's your point?
Well, the difference is that Kenny has to use the psychology of the V-trigger.
Everyone has their stick. They do what they do. What I'm saying with yours is not to diminish Kenny Omega's return or his debut. What I'm saying is without Ibushi, Omega's return wasn't that great. Yes, he ended up being fantastic, but it took years for him to do that. Without Ibushi, once Ibushi left, that's when Omega became
time. All right. Getting into the closing arguments. Obviously, these are very important. Big point is determined on this one. We're going to start with Sean. Sean, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Like I was saying near the end of that time, without Ibushi, Omega would not have had the performance/debut that he would have gotten. Omega would have had taken a way longer time to get that. When Ibushi left, that was when Omega finally was able to shine on his own. That wasn't his debut, though. He was already in the company for a little while up to that point. Ospreay came in right from go and just knocked New Japan on their ass with his performances to the point where they needed to have him on his show. He immediately got thrusted into the junior heavyweights main event position, and he thrived there. He wasn't pushed too soon. He wasn't held back like Omega was, because he was in a great tag team, but with Ibushi, it was Ibushi who made Omega great. It wasn't until later, when Omega didn't have Ibushi, that Omega had to learn to be on his own, and that's why he created the cleaner character. You're talking about stuff down the road. We're talking about the greatest debut, and we go by that. It's got to be Ospreay.
All right, Ryan, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
I'm just going to use my minute.
Very well. Your 2 minutes will begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. As I have mentioned before, I see when it comes to debuts, I personally look at potential. And while Ibushi may have been the stronger of that tag team, the fact was that Kenny and Ibushi have been partners in DDT Pro Wrestling, where they have captured championships. They went back and forth between New Japan and DDT. Sure, they were a popular tag team, but at the same time, the long road with Kenny Omega helped make him the wrestler who he is. And without that 2010 of a year he had, tag team with Ibushi, that his singles matches for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, these were all small small steps, roadblocks towards his journey to becoming the cleaner. And while I want to look at Will Ospreay's 2016, Will Ospreay, yes, he got immediate shots at the titles, but I mentioned so much pressure on his shoulders. He may have risen to the occasion, but constantly then he failed to capture the title twice. He may have won the Best of Super Juniors, but he failed to capture the title afterwards. And with his matches, when he was either in the Super Juniors, the Super J Cup, losing the Matt Seidel, the only title he did win throughout his 2016 was a 6-man tag title, because unfortunately, as a singles competitor, wasn't able to capture it on his own. He needed help to win a title. With Kenny, he was already part of a fantastic team. To when he finally did go off on his own, we knew exactly what he was capable of. We knew exactly what he can do to get the job done. Whenever someone debuts in their singles in their first year, then all of a sudden the only title they captured was a team's title, that doesn't say much to me. But if you start off, yes, in a team, and then later on, you end up not only in the end of the year, you capture that team's title, that shows potential. That shows golden opportunities moving forward. So when you become a singles competitor, you're able to dominate. You're able to put on classic 5-star matches over and over again.
Time. All right. Ryan got his entire 2 minutes in. I think he was satisfied with what he got in there, but we'll see if it's enough. Let's go to Jacob first. Jacob, where do you stand on this one?
I have to click a button first before I start talking. JTH, would you please read me the question one more time?
The question was, who had the best debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the 2010s?
Okay. Ryan, I will say you used your 1 minute wisely. You had a fantastic close. The only downside, you didn't have a good opening in a good 5 minutes. Sean had a big point where he said in Kenny Omega's debut, he wasn't the shining star. And you made the comment, well, on your debut, you want to see potential. And Sean immediately said that's exactly what you saw from Ospreay's debut. I am going to have to give my vote to Sean.
All right. So, Matt, comes down to you right now. Is this match officially over?
They both had great points, but going back to the question is who had the best debut? And one of the competitors took it as a debut of the first year. One competitor had a debut as in the opening match. And when I think of debut, I think of when they first arrive or their first match. So unfortunately, sorry, Ryan, Sean is going to get my point and the win. And I think you both were wrong. You should have gone with Styles because Prince Devitt had just retired. Everybody was down and he snuck out and became the face of the Bullet Club. But that's just me. I love both of your arguments, but unfortunately, Sean just kind of answered the question a little bit better, in my opinion.
And your winner and your official #1 contender for the Chokeslam Wrestling Debate Championship, well-deserved #1 contender, I might add. It is Sean Wasserkrug. Let's go to our closing arguments, or closing argument. What the hell am I?
We can go again.
I'm better than you, and this is why.
Yeah. So let's go to our post-match interviews. Let's start with our unfortunate second place finisher, as Brady and Chandler would say. Ryan, hell of an effort there. Obviously, as I mentioned, you're the first person that actually drew blood on Sean. I'm sure that was I don't know how much of a win you take that as, but overall, how would you assess your play here tonight?
I'm not going to make any excuses for myself. I should have felt I played better. Personally, for me, ever since after my first go around in a movie Battleground, I said to myself, if I'm ever going to lose in a match, I never want to lose being knocked out. And sometimes I might lose in speed rounds. Sometimes I'll lose, like in this situation, in 3-1. But to me, I feel as long as I try to at least get my arguments across, that I don't try to feel like I'm giving up halfway throughout the match, even though at times it's clear I still haven't learned my goddamn lesson to stop talking and get to the point. I still feel that I knew going up against Sean this was going to be a tough one. I thought if I picked some of the odd choices and some of the unique circumstances, it would have been a way to throw somebody off. But sometimes the easiest answer is the best choice, or sometimes you just gotta be blunt. Don't try to be clever, because unfortunately, with the limited time we have, being clever costs you, and it clearly showed it cost me a lot. And also, canceling WWE Network, it probably would have helped me.
Well, yeah, I can't blame you for that. We can just blame the product that they put out that would make you make such a brash decision. But moving forward, where would you say you would go from here?
Well, yeah, I would definitely like another go in Chokeslam moving forward. I mean, there's a certain person I feel I owe a rematch to because of the way our match ended. And if that's ever going to happen, I throw this out to the people in charge. I want a rematch against Richard. I feel that our match didn't end in the best terms, and I want a rubber match against him. This will be our third time facing each other in Chokeslam, so I know this is going to be fun. And hopefully moving forward, I would love to maybe have a shot against either Sean or Nico for that championship, depending on how that's going to turn out.
All right, so you hear that, Sean? Make the match happen. He's obviously referring to you, not me. I just work here.
I dub it so. Sure, you and Richard, go ahead. Let's snap the rubber band and give you guys another go and see who ends out the winner. I agree.
All right. I guess the rubber match will be on. Hope no one actually wears rubber because, yeah.
That's my show. We'll discuss that on a Tuesday night.
Let's put it this way. Anyone who calls out anyone in this league, you're gonna get your match. Unless you're calling out the champ, and then at that point, it's like you gotta prove it. But anyone who calls out anyone in a match, I'm probably gonna say, yeah, go ahead, because I want there to be more debate matches for this. I want this to grow. So anyone out there who's in Chokeslam or who wants to be in Chokeslam, if you guys want to call someone out and say, I want to go against this person, whether it be Ryan, Richard, Harley, Hunter, anyone else, Matt Graham, and JTH, if he actually wants to do it. Anyone.
I would love to do it, but then apparently if I'm not hosting, we can't have the match then.
I can host.
I've hosted some matches in other divisions. I can host.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I can host, but it's one of those things where it's like, look, if you guys want to call people out, that's what pro wrestling is, calling people out and putting your money where your mouth is. So if you want to challenge somebody, be prepared to do it, and then let's get the match set up and ready to go. Simply put.
don't be afraid to call people out, and don't ever bring up Katie Vick, and we'll be fine. So, yeah. Now that was all said and done, let's now go to the winner of this match, Mr. Sean Wasserkrug, who apparently can make matches and wants me to get it on in this league as well. What would you say about your performance here tonight?
I mean, first off, Ryan, it was fun playing with you. You have passion, which is what I want. You, Harley, whoever, everyone that I played in this league. If you're gonna come in a match with me, have passion. You try to win. Try to just at least be passionate about what you're arguing for. And you were passionate, which is what I like arguing about because that makes the match that much better. But yes, another win. And still no speed round. It's very, very easy in this TMG right now. It's 3 divisions where I literally just keep winning. And I said this last match, and here he is. Nico.
Hello.
Who brought this guy into the chat? Sean, why did you do that?
Because I wanted to talk to him. Nico.
I did it.
Are you saving your are you holding that tight? Are you holding it tight, Nico? Because I'm gonna take it from you. I called this out last match. I said, hold that for me, make it pretty. Because I'm coming to beat you. Because you can't stand toe-to-toe with me when it comes to wrestling debate. Are you ready? Are you?
You know what, Sean? You know what? I've been watching you for these past couple of months. I've watched you bulldoze.
As you should.
I've watched you bulldoze through 3 divisions here in TMG. I've watched you work your way up towards the title picture in various trivia leagues. I understand how good you are. You are Goliath. But I want you to remember something. David won the battle, and he won it with no pants on too, which is something a lot of people forget. He won it with his dick flying around and a sword in his hand, and he somehow beat the giant monster. And in this case, I am you, with my dick hanging loose for everyone to see and a sword in my hand. I will slay the Goliath monster that is you.
Newsflash, Nico, I'm 5'6". I'm David in this thing. You're taller than me. That makes you Goliath. You're about to get knocked the F out. Hands down. If we go 5, 6, hell, 10 rounds, you will last as long as I let you last in this match.
Why don't we? Why don't we go 10 rounds?
I'm fine with that.
I'm always up for doing something ridiculous in these leagues. Look at my charity event and look at all the crazy matchups I've created. I'm willing to go 10 rounds for the sake of everyone's entertainment.
You can say you can go 10, but I'll knock you out in 4 or 6 or whatever it needs to be for a knockout because you ain't going to make it to 10 rounds. You're going to be a bloody mess, and they're going to have to throw in the towel.
Watch me make it. Watch me make it, and watch me win with this title still around my shoulder.
You make it if I allow you to. I'll have you on the mat ready for the 1, 2, 3, and I'll lift your shoulder up and go, I want to play with him a little bit more. And then I'll just keep beating you down again. That's what's going to happen, Nico. And then I'm going to take that belt off your shoulder. So get my address so you can mail it to me, and then I'll make sure to wear it whenever I beat whoever else is going to come up against me.
You know, Mako Satomura did that with Ginny recently in Progress Chapter 99. And you know what happened? Ginny rolled her up immediately after Mako lifted her off the ground. So you try something like that, and I will make you pay for it.
And here's the thing. I'm not stupid. I know how to kick out. You're talking to an actual professional wrestler. You don't think I know that a roll-up can happen? I've worn those belts. That belt you have right there, I've had 10 of those around my waist before in real life, not debate. So, yeah.
Dude, you're talking to a Naga champion. I've won jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've won in actual fights. I was training to be a professional fighter for the first 10 years.
in MMA. Let's go.
Bring it.
Bring it. In the words of The Rock.
Where am I?
At least you do it better than Brad Gilmore. I'll give you that.
True.
I think Brad Gilmore's a great guy. He doesn't even know I exist. So
Ryan's in the middle just going. But yeah, Nigo, all promo cutting aside, this is going to be fun.
I agree 100% because, like, listen, real talk. You are someone who I have I had a feeling you were gonna get to this spot, and this is a matchup that I have been both excited and afraid of for a very long time. But I relish that emotional battle. I relish having to find it within myself to dig down deep and and find it in myself to beat someone like you, someone who has just been bulldozing through the competition. I will do my best to give you your toughest fight to date, and I hope you will do the same with me.
It's basically The Rock versus the Hurricane. And we'll see if you can pull up the surprise.
There's a hurricane coming through.
Well, I don't know what to do there. Y'all broke kayfabe. That just ruined 10 minutes of David and Dick jokes. So I don't know where we're going to go from here.
It's called editing, JTH.
I wish you had told me, stop. We're gonna edit this. So
Fuck.
yeah. So now I won't know where to cut that off. So I guess we'll just go.
Don't cut off David's dick.
No, I like mine attached, please.
Same here.
Well, remember, Nico's the choke artist, so I mean, if we're gonna talk about
this is why I don't come back on After Dark. This is why I don't come back on After Dark.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. Wouldn't you say so, boys and girls? So I apologize to all the kids out there that saw and heard all the F-bombs and S-bombs and all the other unmentionables that may or may not have made air after we cut these two gentlemen off. So we're going to close up shop here. Let's go to the plugs, because I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to have things to plug. Hopefully it's not about things that bring up unmentionables and all that other stuff, because I heard enough of that during that promo. Let's start with our winner tonight. As I look down there, there's a lot of people in the way, though, but I'll make do. Sean, where can the good people find you on the great social media spectacular that is the internet?
Well, you can obviously find me on Facebook under my name. I also have a movie show called Sean's Movie Crusades, where we talk about movies, we review movies. Feel free to find us there on on YouTube and Facebook, Letterboxd, Twitter, all that. Just look Sean's Movie Crusades or S Movie Crusades. It is Crusades with a Z in the middle because my professional wrestling name was Sean Cruz. So it's a little bit way to keep my wrestling part of me alive. You can find me on there with me and the rest of the Freak Show talking about movies, having fun, whether it be about Star Wars or anything in general. Sadly, not wrestling because they don't like wrestling because they're all a bunch of losers. But yeah, you can find me on there and on Facebook. If you guys want to talk wrestling, movies, whatever, hit me up. I will gladly talk to you about it all day long.
Well said. Let's now go to our second place finisher here tonight. That I'm sure he's getting very annoyed to hear that. But Mr. Ryan Payne, where can the good people? Yeah, you wave it on. Where can the good people find you?
People can find me here on TMG. I mean, here on Chokeslam. Hope I'm gonna make a comeback in late TV fights after my loss to Jay. But right now, I'm gonna be taking myself a break, going on the Chris Jericho Rock and Rager cruise at sea. So, are
you seriously going on that?
Yeah, I'm seriously going on that. I got 3-person cabin already booked, paid in full. I'm gonna be we're gonna be dressing up as SCU. I've already gotten myself a solo cosplay as Orange Cassidy. So I'm gonna have myself a good time. And I'm taking one of my own personal belts I had bought to go on that cruise. So I'm gonna have a fantastic time. And when I come back, I'm at least going to work my way up back to the Chokeslam Championship or to whatever championship that is that I've set in my sights on. But until then, I'm going to have a good time and enjoy myself. And I will post some. Oh no, wait! I can't do anything on that cruise. I'm prohibited posting photos. Maybe after it's over.
All right, so now I'll kick back and wait for the 10 minutes of plugs to come from our champion. It's a shame I ran out of Pepsi, so I guess I'll. Nico, take it away. What would you like to promote?
What day is this going up?
Good question.
True.
Well, okay. If this is going up after January 24th, then you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random English numbers at the end on Discord. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There is no letter G. I am the TMG Entertainment Chokeslam Wrestling Debate Champion of the World. And as I mentioned, if this is after January 24th, then you can go back and watch some of the Trivia for Thon 2 matches that happened here in in TMG Entertainment, there was a special champ versus champ exhibition between myself and Andrew Hayes of Combat Wrestling Trivia, as well as a very special late TV fights Star Wars edition between myself and my podcast partner Chris Doman. The ladies of the Force Toast podcast and the Inner Geekdom champion Kevin Smets were both on the desk for those various matches respectively, so go check those out. And of course you can find me on Dedicated to Art at D2A channel at various places. DTOA channel at gmail.com is the website, excuse me, the email, and check out all the great shows that we have coming up. And again, my charity drive is still going on, so please donate to my efforts to raise money for the Four Diamonds Pediatric Cancer Research Fund as part of Penn State New Kensington's annual Thon fundraising efforts. That's my plugs. Screw you, JTH.
Well, at least you said JTE, so obviously you didn't have a damn thing bad to say about me. So let's go to our judges. Do our judges have anything that they'd like to plug?
Sure, I'll go first. You can find me, Matt Graham, Facebook, whatever. You can find me after Debate Kingdom. I'm going to be restarting up Game Zone. If you want to get involved, hit me up privately on Facebook. Here, since this is the new year, I figured I would let this go. After Dark will be returning, and we are going to start it probably every 2 weeks. We'll be live on Facebook and on YouTube. Yeah. So After Dark and Game Zone, if you want to get involved, let me know.
All right. Jacob, anything on your end?
Yeah. And you can find me on Facebook, Jacob E. West. Yes, that E is important. Keeps me separate from all the other Jacob Wests in the world. I don't know them, so I don't know if I would trust them, but I would trust me. I'm a trustable guy. You can find me all over TMG, competing in the leagues. And I also help run late TV fights. Malcolm handed over the reins. I picked up those reins. So if there's anyone here watching this that wants to compete in TV debates or even just try it out, hit me up. I'll get you in sometime.
All right. Well said. And you can find me on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, JTH. The J stands for joke. The T stands for T. I forget what the H stands for. It's probably not anything important, though. I also like to thank all the Schmodown fans for watching any content they've seen about me over the last 2.5 years. And I'm very happy to be proud to be a 3-time Schmodown Award never nominator. I'm so proud to not be amongst the greats. Congratulations to whoever won that award too. It was very much deserved. So on behalf of everybody here, thank you for watching this edition of the Chokeslam Wrestling Debate. And on behalf of everybody here, Matt, Jacob, Sean, Ryan, the champ, and the joke, we all wish you and bid you adieu.